The stage is set. The bright lights are on. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 67. We're 2 away from Carl's favourite number for this show. And
hold that one in the back pocket for fucking a week, are you?
So welcome along to episode 67. I'm joined, as always, by the devilishly good-looking Robert Palin.
Thanks, man.
And
appreciate that.
This is Noel, just in case you're watching.
You rarely say that.
Yeah, it's Noel, but if you're watching it, you're going to be like, who's that guy? Look a little different this week.
What did you say you looked like on the way home the other day?
Homer when he has a shave. Yeah,
genius.
Welcome along. We've a packed show, and it's brought to you in association with our good friends at Fight Star Ireland, the fighter's choice, everything you need under one roof. Check them out and tell them the lads from Obviously Fight Talk sent you. MMA Mix, they're obviously good because they're with Obviously Fight Talk. So you want a packed show? We've got a packed show. We will be joined by Jimmy Smith, the voice of Bellator. Of course, Bellator returns to London on Friday evening, so it's great having Jimmy on to chat. We'll also be joined by Daniel Movahedi, who'll be in the referee's corner. I wonder what he's going to be talking about.
It seems like every week now at this point it's like something.
Yeah, someone needs somebody to tell us.
Yeah.
We'll be looking back at UFC 211, and we will be joined. We're delighted. This is a get.
Oh, I can't wait.
Brendan Dorman, who's famous for his breakdowns on YouTube. Mr. Joe Rogan was only praising his breakdowns.
You're in for a treat.
I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. We'll be recapping, having a quick look at BAMMA 29, just a quick recap. But Rob, at the final hours of organising the show, has pulled a doozy. Mississippi Mean.
The Kid.
Jason the Kid Knight will be joining us as well. Coming off performance of the night against Chas Skelly. Great fight on the undercard. Phenomenal stuff. But Rob, let's start where we always do, which are obviously quick-fire news.
I'm going to cut Noel off in his beautiful introduction there for 1 second, just to let you guys know that unfortunately we couldn't get Jimmy Smith on the show this week. We had a couple of Skype issues and we couldn't get it done, but we will try to get it done in a future episode and get him on to talk some Bellator. But we still have a great show coming up. We have Brendan Dorman, we have Jason Knight, we have Daniel Movahedi, so still a packed show. So be sure to listen in, and up next is the Quick-Fire News.
2 minutes on the clock. This is where we talk quickly for 2 minutes on subjects. So here we go. UFC Hall of Fame is to induct the former long-time UFC matchmaker Joe Silva on July 6th. UFC Dallas was the setting for the announcement that the President of Talent, the former President of Talent and head matchmaker, will be entered into the contributor wing of the Hall of Fame. What do we think about this?
It's well deserved. I think Joe Silva, when everybody speaks about UFC matchmakers, they mention Joe Silva. There's other matchmakers there. There's currently other matchmakers there, and I've seen
Sean Shelby.
Yeah, Sean Shelby and whatnot. But I've seen a couple of interviews even leading up to this fight, and there was mention of I speak to Joe Silva, even though he just doesn't work there. It's just ingrained in the UFC. He's the man that kind of changed, or not even changed, but he was the man who put the UFC into action in terms of what match types they'll make. I think that's kind of changing at this point. But if you look back at the UFC when Joe Silva first came in, he kind of created the UFC matchmaking model, and we kind of all know what it is today. We know what way the UFC like to match people up, and that was because Joe Silva was kind of at the heart of that, creating that kind of trend of a UFC matchup.
You said, that in reference to everyone says Joe Silva matchmaker. It's the same way everyone calls their vacuum a Hoover. It's a brand, and Joe Silva will be associated. He's got a lot to, he's done a lot for UFC and MMA with the great matchmaking he's been making over the years. So yeah, rightfully so. I like the way they call them wings and stuff, the Hall of Fame. And, it's the contributor wing. He has contributed a lot to the sport. If you don't know who Joe Silva is, he's the little guy who used to walk into the octagon after the fight to shake everyone's hand. That's who Joe Silva was.
Apparently, though, he is a bit of a controversial figure among some fighters, because apparently he's a very stern businessman. He knows how to play the game of business. So apparently he's not liked by everybody. I know Rampage Jackson had a couple of problems with him before, so there's certainly that there. But in terms of if you're a fan of MMA, he's probably the person who was in the back kind of making you a fan in a way.
Beautiful.
Up next, Anthony Johnson is moving on to greener pastures and has revealed he is getting into the medical marijuana business, as reported by Mark Raimondi of MMA Fighting, who said that quote too. Johnson said, "We are opening up a facility, if you know what I mean." Johnson told the former WWE star Booker T on his Heated Conversation show, "It's for medical uses. We've got some good things going on. It's already big. We're just waiting for that law to pass." Law. Looks like law. And whenever it passes, we're golden. We're playing our cards right, and we're playing it by the book, so there's no issue.
Anthony Johnson is getting into the pot dealing business. He's obviously a keen fan of Fight Talk, and he's heard me talking about Fight Store Ireland, where you can get your CBD oil.
We just put that there to get the plug in.
Yeah, but
why not?
What do you say? Like, it's weird.
I don't think we should take 2 minutes on this.
But to go from, oh my God, he's going to the NFL.
Yeah, it's weird. What?
He's turning into Cheeky and Chongo or whatever the bleeding lads are called.
Cheech and Chong.
Whatever.
What is wrong with you?
Do you know what I mean? But like,
you're older than me. You should know this.
It's mental. Like, so literally, he's gone from fighting to having Bob Marley on his playlist. That's literally what's happening here with Rumble. But I can imagine it is a huge, profitable.
Yeah, I don't think he's walking away from MMA for it not to be profitable, especially if that's the thing that he's getting into. There could be other things, you never know, but it seems to be that. I'd say there's a lot of money in it. Whatever kind of deal he got to open these facilities or whatever, it must be a pretty substantial, profitable deal.
Yeah. Yep, go
Big
on.
time.
So we don't need 2 minutes on marijuana.
Yeah.
Jake Shields defeated Dylan Dennis at Submission Underground for this past weekend. Shields was declared the victor by the fastest escape in overtime of the bout. So this, obviously there was a lot of heat with the whole SBG back and forth with Conor McGregor there as well. Obviously Dylan Dennis had said that he was going to decapitate Jake Shields in this one, but it looked like Shields' wrestling and jiu-jitsu cancelled out the submissions of Dylan Dennis in this one. It's a bit of a hard pill, I'd imagine, to swallow for Dylan Dennis, this one.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, especially kind of the run that he's been on. He's getting very, very popular, but he's been called out by guys as being kind of slated on the internet. He got apparently kicked out, or he had to take time away from his gym with Marcelo Garcia. So would that play into it? A whole, the transition to MMA, the kind of bad publicity he's getting in certain parts. I'm sure he's getting great publicity somewhere else as well, but he's getting some bad publicity from the public. And obviously not training with Marcelo Garcia has to hurt as well. So maybe that played into it. I think Jake Shields, I was talking to
Jake Shields is a master.
He's a beast, but
it's not as if he went in and lost to
a lot of people thought it was a huge upset, and I do think that it's an upset, as in Dana should have been favourite, but I don't think it was a crazy upset, but I think it shows how good Jake Shields is, because everybody counts him out of every fight that he's in, even against GSP. He done well against GSP. It was a terrible fight, but he done well against GSP.
It's a bit of a, like I said, I think it's more of a pride thing that would have been hit there from Dennis, because he was talking the game. A lot of people giving out to him saying, he's becoming a fake McGregor and stuff like that. Look, he's signed with Bellator. We're going to see what he's like in the MMA world. The world of jiu-jitsu is his world. And I didn't see it. I just sort of seen the highlights and read a little bit about it, so I can't really go too deep into it, but I'd imagine it's more of a pride thing that he lost to Shields, especially with the goings on of the UFC press conference that time. So I think it's just pride damage.
Yep, the UFC summertime press conference went down in Dallas, and it was full of schoolyard name calling, bottles and punches thrown, and Carolina just happily smiling. Very nice, Noel.
Thanks.
DC and John Jones exchanged numerous insults, and Michael Chiesa took offence to Kevin Lee referencing his mother for the two needing to be separated, but not before Lee landed a right on Chiesa. What are your thoughts on the presser?
It was madness. It literally, that's why I put the school ground. There was don't talk about my kids backstage. Cormier threw a water bottle at John Jones. Then Chiesa had, don't talk about my mom. In fairness, all Lee said was, your mom's going to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And he lost his shit.
Yeah,
now, he was slagging his mullet before that, and you can never slag a man's mullet.
No. That's just that just goes without saying.
But it was, and then I have to, Michael Johnson's trash talking. I'll
be perfectly honest, I watched the highlights.
Painful. Now, don't get me wrong, but that's what I was saying. Carolina's just all the time going, and Aguilamani actually addressed that and said, you're just sitting there smiling.
It's hilarious as well. Did you ever see Carolina before a fight? She just stands there at the cage.
Yeah, just as if she's like going to shops for
Fedor-esque.
But no, it was, and you know what? It's good because people are talking about it. Here we are. Yeah. But there was a lot of talk. Like obviously, DC referred to John Jones. So, at one stage you went, you had a coke and prostitute weekend, and Jones went, prostitute?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And then he said things like, one weekend I'd done a shitload of cocaine. The next weekend I kicked the shit out of you. That was
a great stretch or something.
Yeah, so it was weird, and in that way,
it was a UFC press conference in 2017.
John Jones is embracing the heel a little bit, and I've always said that.
But so is DC kind of as well.
DC is billed to be cool now at this stage.
Exactly, he's embracing it. But he's embracing it.
But yeah, look, there's great fights on it
as well.
Yeah.
Mad bastard.
Yeah. So the last bit, this is not news. We just want to take the moment to pass our respects to Nick Catone, whose 20-month-old son tragically died on Friday the 12th in his sleep. Our thoughts are with the Catone family. A horrible situation.
Not much you can say, but thoughts with the Catone family, because
so it's
very sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. So it's not news. We just wanted to address it. So again, let's move it on, Rob, and let's get your first guest of many this week.
Yep.
So we're going to be joined now by Mississippi Mean Jason Knight. If you haven't watched the prelims and the undercards, watch them because the fights were amazing.
Yeah,
and this
fights.
Got a performance of the night. So I'm looking forward to talking to this man.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we
can indeed.
Sorry, I'm going to be paying attention to my fight, man, but I'm listening.
Hold on. So we're not live here, so you can take your time there. What round are you in? You on the first round or second round?
I'm in the first round right now. It's probably about my 10th time to watch the fight, man, but I learned a few fights ago to go back and I pick apart even my wins and make sure that, I catch any little thing that I've done wrong.
Yeah.
And I try to correct it.
Can
so
you...
far, the only thing I see that I've done wrong in that first round, the very first takedown he went for, I had been working this triangle, from the single leg, and I hit it all the time in the gym, a flying triangle. And I didn't really set it up good in this fight. I kind of rushed it a little bit, and I should have took more time, defending the single leg, and then set up the triangle a little better before I went for it. And he hit that single leg, and in my head, first thing I thought was triangle choke, and I went for it at the wrong time, wound up on my back having to fight from the rubber guard. And, it was just a bad mistake on my part. So I'll make sure that next time I get in that position and I get the opportunity to go for that triangle, that I don't rush it and I actually get the damn triangle choke.
On the broadcast there, I know you're watching it there, so this could be fun. You're watching the fighters are talking to us. But on the broadcast, Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier were saying you were attacking from the back and you were beating Skelly up from the bottom. Was that, again, something that you wanted to incorporate, or is that just your natural style when you're fighting, Jason?
Yeah, man, it's more of just my natural style. I've been doing rubber guard for, almost 10 years now. And well, maybe not quite that long. I've been doing rubber guard for about 8 years now, and I've gotten really good at it. And if somebody takes me to the ground and they're in my guard, it's natural instinct, that leg comes up and I start fighting for submissions. And of course, it keeps me from taking any offensive damage as well. The guy, they can't very much hit you if you've got their limbs tied up. And, you've got it to where their whole upper body's under control. And, that's just something that I've got to where I go to absolutely instinctively now. And, it works really good for me.
You spoke about being a little not upset, but you criticised your own wrestling in the fight. You thought you could have done a little bit better. Watching it back now, are you kind of content now with how you're doing? Or are you still, obviously, you picked out a couple of things you want to work on, but are you happy with the wrestling? Are you happy with the grappling?
Yeah, man. I just out wrestled a Division I wrestler. You know, he tried to take me down 6 times, and for some reason, you know, after the fight, I thought that he had got me down twice, but he only secured 1 takedown out of 6, and I tried to take him down twice. I took him down twice. You know, and in my eyes, that's a win for me. You know, I just beat a Division I wrestler at his own game. And not only did I beat him at his wrestling game, you know, he's supposed to be a badass jiu-jitsu guy. And, you know, I'm a brown belt myself. I just recently got that brown belt. You know, I was a purple belt from the time I was 19 until just a little while ago. I just I should have been a brown belt a long time ago, but I never wear the gi, so it's kind of hard to get promoted without wearing the gi. But my coach, you know, he's seen my improvement. He's seen that, you know, I'm competing with all these different guys on the ground at such a high level, and he decided to give me that brown belt. But yeah, Chas Skelly, you know, he's been tapping people out left and right, getting finishes, and you know, everybody can clearly see that he's badass on the ground. And I just beat him in wrestling, and I beat him on the ground, so it's definitely a big confidence booster.
There was a lot of discussion about the finish. A lot of people thought it was a little bit late. Now, you did say after the fight that you didn't think it was late. You said you've watched the fight a couple of times since now. What do you think of the finish now in the aftermath, you know, actually watching it? Do you think it was late, or do you think it was just on the dot?
Man, I honestly think that, you know, the referee, he probably could have stopped it a little earlier. But if I'm in Chas Skelly's shoes, I wouldn't want him to stop it either. You know, I would want him to give me every opportunity to get the hell out of there. Yeah. And Chas Skelly, you know, he was never asleep. And that's the way I look at it. If I'm not fucking sleeping, you don't stop the fight. You give me every chance that I can have to get out of there. You wait till I'm snoring on the fucking mat, face down, sleeping, and then you stop it. But, yeah, I go back and I look at it, man. I was catching with some good, clean shots. The first few were kind of on the side of the head, but once I found that chin, the last few punches, I had his chin dialed in, and I was hitting him hard right on the button, and it was just a matter of just a few more punches, and he would have been asleep. I don't know if y'all, you couldn't really see it on the TV, but right after the fight, the referee let him stand up, and he stood up and almost fell back down, and yeah, he was definitely in a bad spot. So I mean, yeah, it could have been stopped a little earlier, but you know, I can't really blame the referee, because Chas Skelly, he told him, "Hey man, you got to work," and Chas Skelly was steadily talking to him. "I'm working, I'm trying," you know, letting him know that he was still in the fight. So you know, you can't really talk shit about the referee because you wasn't in there, you know.
Yeah. There was a little bit of everything in the fight. You obviously, a lot of grappling. You feel like you out-grappled him. You obviously knocked him out in the end, and then there was obviously a broken arm in there as well. After he broke his arm, do you think the referee knew his arm was broken or hurt, or did Chas Skelly play it off pretty well?
No, man. No one knew Chas Skelly's arm was broke besides me and Chas Skelly. You know, he played it off very well. You know, I went back to the corner after the round, and I told my coaches, "Hey, I broke his arm." And it's like, "Whose fucking arm's broke? Is your arm broke?" I was like, "No, I broke his arm. I broke his arm in the first round. I broke his arm with that arm bar, because I had him in a triangle, and just for a split second, he was fixing to get out of the triangle, and I sunk an arm bar. And you know, from watching the fight, you can't even tell that the arm bar was bad. But if you go to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, you can see that I clearly had his arm hyperextended and twisted some kind of bad. And it was just a split second, man. I'm telling you, maybe I might have had him in that arm bar for 2 seconds. But I put my hips into it, and it popped like crazy. And he even tapped one time. But before he ever had to tap again, or before the referee ever got over there, he was already out of the submission, so he just kept fighting. And, you know, much credit to Chas Skelly for keeping going, even though his arm was broke. I know that you see a little later in the first round, I go for a Kimura, and I'm nowhere near in the right position to go for it. I have no control of his body whatsoever. I was kind of on top of him, almost in like a backwards side control position, and he had his arms wrapped around me. I reached up and I grabbed for that Kimura, and I just tweaked the hell out of his arm. Well, I was trying to just hurt his arm some more, so maybe he would tap. Man, his arm popped 5 or 6 more times, and it kind of felt like I was gritting fucking sand together or something, and he would not tap. You know, the dude's tough. He got back up, went right back to fighting again. So, you know, like I said, all the respect in the world to Chas Skelly for, you know, showing that grit and determination.
During the second round, you can see it on the broadcast, you were talking to Skelly. Can you remember what you were saying to him?
Yeah, man. I told him, you know, let's go, let's fight. And at one point, he tried for the takedown. He got in deep, and I shut the takedown down, you know, sprawled back, got my underhooks in, pushed him away. And I told him, I said, you can't take me down, boy. And he said, yes, I can. I said, well, come on then, let's see it, bitch. And then a few seconds later, you know, we hit each other a few times, and I said, let's get it. And, you know, that's pretty much all I really said to him during the fight. You know, the corner kept saying that, he's tired, Jay, get him, he's tired. And Chas Skelly was like, no, I'm not. I said, I could tell, you know, he was a little tired, but, you know, I encouraged him. I was like, I know you're not tired, let's go, let's fight, baby. And, you know, that's pretty much all I really said, you know. Didn't really have a whole lot of disrespect for the guy because, you know, he never disrespected me. We were cool all week long at the hotel and everything, and at the weigh-ins and everything. We were, you know, very respectful to each other.
There was the moment there when his arm did break. Looking back in retrospect, because you strike me as a guy who really enjoyed that fight, and I'm sure there's some fighters out there who would want to get it done as soon as possible. But in retrospect, are you glad that it continued on, or would you like to maybe take less damage and for the referee to stop it when his arm broke?
Oh, no, man, I'm glad it continued on because it showed a lot for me and for Chas Skelly. You know, I got the finish. Instead of getting another submission win, I got my first TKO win, and you know I showed that Jason Knight's got power standing up. You know I can fight standing up, I can fight on the ground, and it showed a hell of a lot for Chas Skelly because I mean a man who fights through that kind of adversity and keeps going, you know, he's got nothing but respect for me, and you know from now on, if I'm not fighting Chas Skelly, Jason Knight is going to be cheering for Chas Skelly. You know, I just became a Chas Skelly fan because of that fight.
I think a lot of people became a Chas Skelly and Jason Knight fan after that fight. Just moving forward into the future, you called out Artem Lobov, and you've also been campaigning for the Doo Ho Choi fight. Has there been any contact with the UFC in regards to any of those fights? And do you think you might get one of them?
No, I haven't really got any contact from the UFC yet about either fight. And I don't really necessarily want the Artem Lobov fight because, you know, that's a step backwards for me. I was just more or less in the media room expressing that, you know, hell, I should have called out Cub Swanson because fucking Artem Lobov got it. And Artem Lobov, in my opinion, is garbage. You know, I can kill that guy. Pretty much anybody in the UFC that's, you know, getting closer to the rankings, they will smash Artem Lobov because I mean, all he can do is knock you out. Other than that, he can't beat anybody. You know, he's not very good. And hell, if they want to give me that fight, I'll take it tomorrow. Go ahead and, you know, get my hand raised again and just I don't know, man. I was just kind of expressing that I thought I would whoop his ass. And I don't really understand why he gets such an opportunity, you know. And not saying that I deserve it any more than he does, but, you know, I honestly didn't think that he deserved that Cub Swanson fight. I think that was more or less a Conor McGregor thing, you know, just because he's one of Conor McGregor's guys, he got the opportunity. But fuck it, you know, he runs his mouth. A lot of people know who he is, and hell, if they give me that fight, it's more publicity for me. So I'll go out there, get me another finish, and go ahead and improve to 5 in a row.
Were you impressed at all with his performance against Cub Swanson, staying in there for the full fight, not getting finished? Because a lot of people thought, as you said, that he maybe wasn't good enough for Cub Swanson and thought that was a big mismatch. But he did stay in there. Were you impressed with him at all, or do you not rate him?
Yeah, I mean, he did good, but I still don't think that just because Cub Swanson couldn't finish him that I can't finish him. If you look back at my fights, Jim Adler's, I didn't finish him and I didn't finish Calvajiri. But you got the Yair Rodriguez fight. Yair, he beat the shit out of BJ Penn, which, of course, he's the old weather BJ Penn, but he couldn't finish Alex Caceres in a 5-round fight. I finished Alex Caceres in 2 rounds and, in devastating fashion. Chas Skelly.
So did you see Yair Rodriguez and Frankie Edgar? Did you watch the fight yourself, and what did you think of that? Again, everybody thought Rodriguez got the push too soon.
Yeah, man, I watched most of the fight. I believe, I called that fight. I believe that, Yair Rodriguez, he was a little bit kind of more in the limelight than he should have been. He really hadn't had any real tough tests yet. Frankie Edgar was his real tough test, and he failed that miserably. And, it's nothing against Yair Rodriguez. You got guys who are good on the outside and flashy, and they're good whenever people let them be that way, And Frankie Edgar, I knew going into the fight that Frankie Edgar's not that guy who's going to stand on the outside, let you throw your flashy kicks and shit. And Frankie Edgar got in his face and made it a nasty fight, and I knew that's what was going to happen. And, Yair, he's not all that dangerous. He's dangerous on the outside, but anywhere else he's not very dangerous. So, I just think that they kind of threw him to the wolves a little bit too early.
So moving forward in 2017, you're currently riding a 4-fight win streak. What's next? Like when do you realistically want to get back in there? As much as you're marked up a little on the face, how else are you physically? And are you looking to get more fights in the remainder of the year?
Yeah, I'm good to go, man. I have surgery to get my deviated septum fixed in just a few days on the 18th. And, I have I think it's like a 2-week recovery for that deviated septum. And I have a 45-day suspension for my eye. I'm going to be back in the gym before I recover from either. I'm going to be at least hitting pads or something and go ahead and get ready for the next fight. And I've already told Joe Rogan, Sean Shelby, Dana White, all of them, they know that I want to fight July, September, December. I've got 3 more fights in this contract. I want to fight all 3 this year. I just want to stay as busy as possible. Before the UFC, I fought 5-6 times a year. I don't know why the UFC should be any different. Of course, I'm on a bigger stage. I'm in front of more people, but I'm still the same guy. I still want to fight. I still want to go out there and have fun. And, that's what it's about to me. It's not so much about the money. It's not so much about climbing the rankings or getting the belt or none of that shit. It's more about, me doing something that I love and getting to do it often.
Well, I can safely say here in Ireland anyway, I'm sure you made thousands of fans out of it from people watching. I was intrigued watching the fight. I absolutely loved it. I can't wait to see it back in there again. And whenever you are coming back in there again, come back onto us here and obviously Fight Talk. It's been brilliant to chat to you. And again, thanks for taking the time to join us a couple of days after the fight.
Yes, sir. No problem. I'd be happy to join y'all anytime. And anybody else out there with a podcast, you want to call me up, get with me. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, just get with me. And let's talk. I'm ready to get my name out there as much as possible, get as much exposure as possible. And, just gain fans all over the world. And I hope everybody likes the podcast. I hope that everybody's starting to like Jason Knight and hopefully get on board and realize that, you know, I'm the real deal. I'm not here to, you know, be a one-trick pony or, you know, I'm not here for one and done. I'm here for the long haul. You know, I'm going to go down in the history books. I guarantee you that. I'm going to be one of the greatest fighters UFC's ever seen before I leave this sport, and that's a guarantee. You know, that's what I'm in here for. I you know, of course the belt's a plus, but I want to go down in the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to do my damnedest to make that happen. If it doesn't happen, I will. I'll never have to look back and regret, but, you know, I'm going to push as hard as I can to make sure that I'm a Hall of Famer.
Well, you strike me as the type, you're going to be like a fan's favourite fighter. Yeah. You come in, you throw down, you fight, you put your heart in your sleeve, you try to get the finish. You're exactly what every mixed martial arts and fight fan loves. You step in there, you love it, you can tell your passion. As you're talking to us, you're watching your fight, you can tell your passion, and you've definitely made a fan out of us, and I can't wait to see you back in there again.
Awesome, man. I'm glad y'all had me on the show, and yeah, I definitely, I think that, you know, if I was on the outside looking in, you know, I would wanna see a guy like me, you know, rise to the top, because it's something that I love to do. It's not just like a paycheck for me. It's not about the publicity. It's not about everybody getting to know me. And you know, I of course, you know, all that's cool, but I don't really care, you know, if anybody in the world cheers me on. The whole world can boo me if they want to. I don't care, you know. I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing it for you. You know, I hope that you like me good. If you don't like me, fuck you too, you know. But I hope to God that, you know, the world likes Jason Knight, you know, because I'm not fucking changed for nobody. You know, I'm not gonna try and sell myself to the media. I'm not trying to, you know, make myself change for anybody. You know, I'm a backwoods country boy, and I'm gonna stay a backwoods country boy to the day I die. You know, if I've got $50 in my pocket, or if I got 50 million in my pocket, I'm gonna be the same guy that I was 10 years ago, and I'm gonna be the same guy to the day that I die. You know, and you know that's just the way I feel about it. If you like it, good. If you don't like it, sorry, but I'm not.
Just at the end, we lost connection here.
There?
Oh,
yeah, there we go. We're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had yeah.
Phone call.
People ringing you. Your phone is buzzing all through it as well, so you're getting hit up left, right, and centre. No, listen, you're right. I love it. Don't change your style. Be who you are. Fight the way you're fighting. And like I said, it won't be long before the masses are following, because you're almost a throwback to the old style. Yeah. Turn up and just fight how we are, and fuck the begrudgers. And I love it.
Yeah, man. I grew up with the hard knocks guys. You know, I got into MMA when I was 14, and back in my day when I started, you know, there wasn't no pussies around. There wasn't none of them guys that, you know, wanted to pick and poke and get points and stay safe. You know, we at my gym, you know, when we started, it was grit your teeth and get down. You know, if you didn't know how to check leg kicks, they kicked you until you fell down. You know, if you didn't know how to block punches, they punched you until you fell down. You know, shit like that. If you wasn't blocking to the body, they tried to see if they could, you know, punch you hard enough to make your soul leave your fucking body. And you know, I grew up tough. I dealt with the old school cats, and you know, I feel like that's helped me out. You know, it's made me a way tougher fighter, and made it to where, you know, I've got that grit to really get out there, bang it out, and I don't give a shit if I get hurt. I'm trying to hurt you too, you know. Let's see who gets hurt the worst, and let's see who can take it the best.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man. Listen, it's an absolute pleasure. I look forward to speaking to you again. Thanks again, man. Enjoy the rest of your night, and spend that performance of the night money good.
Oh, yes, sir. We're finna pay off the house. You know, I got another $23,000, and here in a few days it'll be paid off. But you guys have a good day. Thank y'all so much for having me on the show. Call me up anytime. You know, you get ready for another podcast. Jason Knight's phone's always available.
Beautiful.
Cheers, man. Have a good one.
Pleasure. Take care. Thanks, man. Thanks
Yes,
for taking the
sir.
call.
Have a good one. Thank you.
That is one badass, cool motherfucker.
Yep.
Yeehaw! Quality. Deadly. I love that. He's fucking cool.
Let's go. And we're going
to jump straight
Brendan
into
Dorman.
your UFC 211 recap with Brendan Dorman here. So we're going to hit him up.
Let's go.
Get him on the phone. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk. This is your UFC 211 recap. What a card and what a man to join us. His videos just explode on YouTube of his breakdowns. Joe Rogan only giving the praises. Brendan Dorman, welcome to obviously Fight Talk, my man.
Thanks for having me, guys. What's up?
Not much.
No, well, just recovering after
after a good weekend of fights.
A good weekend of fights. Let's go dive straight into it. We're going to talk a little bit with referee Daniel Movahedi in a little bit, but I want to talk about the amazing fight that was the main event on the prelims, if you like, was Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier. So, Brendan, break us down. What did you think? What did you take out of this fight from both fighters?
Well, of course, I'd be remiss to not mention the fact that your native Mr. McGregor has had his way with both of them in pretty similar fashion, right?
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah.
So that was a tough litmus test. I realized the 10-pound weight differential, but Poirier has been a tad chinny in the past, and I know Conor had even alluded to that. Eddie really had never been, but you saw both of them chinny in that fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there was some amazing exchanges, especially obviously before the critical end. That was brutal, but where Dustin was cutting angles well. See, Eddie strikes into his angles, if that makes sense. Dustin creates his angles with his footwork and then strikes. And both can be effective if done right? There's never an absolute answer to that either way. This is right, that's wrong. It wasn't like that. So I thought that was really cool. And then all of a sudden the fight became this like, well, who's going to, I had no idea what to expect because I think Eddie got clipped quick. And I was like, this might be over. He came back. Then it looked like he might come out on top. And then those knees, I was like, I didn't know how they were going to play it, if he was going to get DQ'd. I thought it was, a gentlemanly gesture for sure from Poirier to kind of look out at the crowd and get all pissed off or, whatever. But it was, I wish that fight just went on,
Yeah, it was. It
looked like it would have ended,
Yeah, because when I was watching, I was surprised that Alvarez got hurt the way he did. That sort of caught me off guard. And it's something that I will flog this dead horse till the day I'm dead. But I always go, fighters have an expiry date on their chin. Has Alvarez expired that little bit? Has it moved closer to expiry date?
I always say that. And after his last fight, it wasn't like done,
Yeah.
With Aldo, you don't know, right? Because before that fight, Aldo, his wars with Mendez, Jesus. Yeah. That guy, it's not like Mendez doesn't have power if you saw what he did to Lamas, etc. Those uppercuts from the fake shot and everything. Guy's got super power. And he landed on Aldo flush in that second fight. I don't know, 15 times. And he kind of ate him up Pac-Man style. And then Conor tags him with kind of a glancing left, and he's dead. So it'll be interesting to see in the future how that goes. But I guess with Eddie, sometimes all it takes is that one. And I've seen it since I was a kid with boxing. It's like Jones-Tarver. Roy Jones versus Antonio Tarver. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
That was like, because Roy Jones was my guy, And I've met him since, and he's an awesome dude. And I'm not, blasting him. But that was kind of this point where it was like he got chinny. And then when Glenn Johnson knocked him out, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I think with both of those guys, you have a little bit of that. With Poirier, you saw it a little bit prior to Conor, especially during the Conor fight, and then Michael Johnson lit him up like a Christmas tree in no time. Yep. And I think Eddie's so damn tough that sometimes he goes like, and we'll get to the main event, I'm sure, the co-main with Joanna Champion, but there was a lot of that there that I think is interesting. But who knows, right? His recovery was good.
Yeah.
But the ability to get the chin to do the little, concussed thing was was noteworthy for sure, and I do think it's a wearing thing, you know.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to bring up was the recovery, because he did recover pretty well, and Alvarez is always known for having great recovery because he does get hit. He gets hit quite a bit, and he still had that recovery there. But you know, all them wars over the years, it's not just that one fight where he got finished. It's the wars, the continuous wars, and that just wears on you and wears on you and wears on you. Eventually, it'll just completely wear you out. But I wouldn't write him off just yet because he did have that recovery, and you never know if that wasn't a legal knee.
Did he recover though? Like, because
he was still in there. He was still in there.
My argument with it is, did he recover? Because I don't think a fully, you know, not on Queer Street, Wobbly Street, or whatever, wouldn't have landed the knees that he landed. I think a clear-minded Eddie Alvarez. Clear-minded. No, but you know what I mean. Non-effective, you know, wouldn't have thrown them knees, I think.
Yeah. I mean, again, tough to tell, right?
Yeah.
But that's a fair point, because the first one I can totally see, right?
Yeah, it's the hand.
First of all, they're fighting, and if you've even sparred hard in a gym, you understand sometimes things get a little wacky. He didn't necessarily mean to hurt anybody, whatever. Not that he's known for that, and he's certainly not a dirty guy. So it's a valid point. I don't, you know, who knows, right? You'd have to be in his head, but that's the thing, is how long does it take, right? Because there's in the main event, in the co-main, that's what kept happening. And that it was like, oh, she's fine. Yeah. And that happened repeatedly. So I don't know. Hagler was a great example of that in boxing. Even like Overeem before he got super chinny. Who else? Obviously the Mark Hunt and Roy Nelsons of the world, they get clipped and just kind of walk through it, you know. So it depends. But once it goes, and even those heavyweights, like Overeem's another example. And who knows what other things might be involved there.
Mexican supplements.
Yeah, as my main man Rogan would say.
One of the fights I think that got bumped up the card, that when people said it was there a letdown on the card, this might have been the fight that they stuck the kettle on, was Dave Branch taking on Krzysztof Jotko. I think it was a surprise. I think everyone just thought Jotko had to turn up to win this one.
Maybe. Like, I don't think it was a letdown for me because I didn't see it being that exciting. The problem I thought with Jotko was he had a complete inability to strike on the outside. When he was striking, he was landing some decent shots and immediately getting the clinch position where David Branch could just clinch him straight away, and that just completely neutralised the whole fight. Branch done what he needed to do for the most part. I kind of scored it to him. I didn't sit down and watch it, minute by minute and score. But at the end, I was like, why not Branch? He'd probably done a little bit more. I think the takedown. It was disappointing to see Jotko not being able to keep any kind of range on Branch when clearly that's what he needed to do and just couldn't. He had the complete inability to do it.
Sometimes, in my experience anyway, depending on your coach or your striking coach, especially in MMA gyms, a lot of guys that come in with a pedigree, it's not as an MMA striking coach.
Yeah.
There's people that make a great adjustment for sure, right? Phil Nurse being my guy. Henry Hooft, my best two striking coaches I've worked with are those two, right? And neither of them come from MMA per se. But like the first day I worked with Phil, he asked me, do you want to, come here to learn Thai boxing or do you want to learn MMA striking? Which is fascinating. Yeah. And I followed that path myself, right? Mm-hmm. So with that said, the reason that I'm bringing that up is distance control is so different. Glove size is so different, right? So if they're a boxing coach first, sure, they're going to show you great footwork, great head movement, those kind of things they know how to drill, right? Mm-hmm. Increasing punching speed, angular sense, etc. But the angular sense, even, because you were making a point about him like not being able to figure out outside from in, right? Distance control, those are, they're becoming terms we use a lot now. Back in the day, you didn't hear that much. And I think the problem really, if there is a problem, I mean, clearly these guys are in the UFC, they're not doing too bad. But I think some coaches, some gyms especially, have a jiu-jitsu black belt or 8, right? And then they maybe have a wrestling coach and some guy that's kind of a Muay Thai coach, right? It's like they don't have an MMA striking coach. Yeah. And like Jackson Wink is a good example where they have, like, Winklejohn's background is in kickboxing, but that Brandon Gibson kid, I don't know him personally all that well, but he's an MMA striking coach. Mm. And I think that's important because distance and footwork is circular rather than lateral a lot of times, all that.
Yeah. Move on.
To fight that. This is.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people with this one, they're either, we called it, but I don't think that's a feather in your cap calling this, was Frankie Edgar outclassing Yair Rodriguez. We did say this was probably coming 2, possibly 3 fights too early for Rodriguez. That seems to be how it played out, Brendan.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't have been like flabbergasted. It wouldn't have been Matt Serra GSP. No. I love you, Matt. You're my boy.
Yeah.
And I love George. I'm conflicted. They're both Henzo guys, as I am. But with that said, that was like one of those just happened, right? Of course. If Yair had caught him with something, he did throw a nice spinning wheel kick, I think, pretty late though, right before kind of the end was nay or whatever. He has that ability, right? He's flexible. He's tricky. Here's the thing. You take the vet with speed and solid fundamentals in wrestling every time. If you're betting, I mean, I don't get on fights. I don't even like making picks, to be honest. But if I had to there, Frankie was certainly the safe one, It was like the Cejudo Pettis. Were you guys looking forward to that as much as I was? I thought that would have been fascinating, too. I don't think there's much of a distance between the two.
Yeah.
But to see because I think Anthony's, kryptonite is kind of in wrestling. So it would have been interesting to see how Sergio kind of adjusted to Cejudo's game.
I thought there was some slight comparisons from this fight, albeit a different kind of way than the main event with Miocic. We'll talk a little bit about that. Was the pressure fighting. And I think the problem with, you have these two fighters, and it was a perfect example of pressure fighting, and then you watch the Joanna fight, which Andrade was trying to pressure fight, but she just couldn't cut her off, and it was just jab, 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 jab. Where Edgar showed the pressure fighting on the ground, and Miocic showed perfect pressure fighting coming forward on the feet. And then you obviously have the other one. But I thought it was, a beautiful performance by Edgar. I thought it was similar to...
He's a monster.
Yeah, it was
he's a monster.
Such a beast, man.
And it was very reminiscent of Cub, just faster.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I thought it was comparisons with Aldo over Edgar in a way where people are kind of looking at Aldo saying he might be slowing down, and then he completely outclassed him on the feet. And it was similar to this.
Yeah.
I found people saying Edgar maybe, might be slowing down. And then we seen, Edgar...
He can't count that guy out. His heart's bigger than him.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned pressure fighters, right? And it means something different depending upon who we're talking about, of course. Remember how I was saying Dustin sets up his strikes with his feet first? Frankie's pretty good at that too, but he'll kind of feint his way in. And if you notice with him, I mean, it's not hard to notice this, he never is not moving.
Yeah.
He's never stagnant. And with a guy like Yair, he tends to, with the traditional style, he'll get real bladed, make a small target. But against a guy like Frankie, he's going to just lateral step blitz, and he's in your face throwing straights and then landing all three, and then he's out. And you can't catch him. You know what I mean? That ability to get in, get out, even though he's much shorter. I don't know what the reach advantage was or whatever, but he was clearly not as tall, But he was much better with distance dictation, I think.
His ground and pound was throwback to old school. It was Tito Ortiz-esque in the heyday. And he was selecting when Yair Rodriguez was marked up, his shots were constantly landing on that eye. But that in itself, it's almost, in a way, the ground and pound, it's not seen as much, especially from certain positions, anymore as it was in the earlier days. Yeah. There was a great example. I don't know if you've seen BAMMA, if you watch BAMMA, but former guest, and he'll be on there probably next week, Tim Barnett, who was the BAMMA Lonsdale champion. He knocked out Mario Zahid in the guard with shots. He landed two big shots.
Guard?
Yeah, full guard, and he knocked him out cold. And it's something
sometimes that happens even if their feet are closed too. It's not so much like a John Jones Shogun where he was long. It's just a manipulation of a closed guard.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But Frankie almost, it was like the way he won the fight was almost like a little peek that, us old school guys, we're still here. It was a dominant performance, but his ground and pound was vicious. And you don't see that as much anymore.
Brilliant. There's a couple guys that are noteworthy, right? And one thing I try to point out in my breakdowns for sure is that ground. I always hated ground and pound. It just sounded ridiculous to me. I ground and pound. It's like a meathead thing, right? Yeah. Ground striking is preferred, everyone. Ground striking. Make that an art form, right? So if you have a good coach, which he has amazing coaches, right? If you go to Henzo's on a Saturday or something, it's like 100 black belts on the mat. It's absurd. but he's from that lineage, and then Almeida, right? So he's got 2 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world-class coaches who also fought MMA. So that changes a tad, right? As you've seen with like Marcelo Garcia, right? There's certain people that are phenomenal in Jiu-Jitsu, MMA Jiu-Jitsu, things change. And what I noticed with Yair is he was trying to get long leg guard, right? Like throw up for, I think, triangles. He didn't really get even close. Nah. So it's kind of tough to say, trying to trap the arm to the mat, maybe omoplata, I don't know. But Frankie's got awareness as a black belt under those guys to just manipulate enough to posture, and as soon as he feels any looseness here, he's literally just feeling. He's not seeing anything. He's reacting to what he feels, and that's why he would be able to close. And then there are a few elbows that you could hear like gunshots. Yeah. You know, it's like Jesus Christ. When I saw the eye after the round, I'm like, oh man, I thought they might stop it from that. Yeah. You know. It's earlier than it was.
What's this is the weird one for both fighters in a way. What's next for Frankie Edgar? Like, you know, is it?
It sucks.
Yeah,
is
it big time?
Is it Cub again? Is that the? You know, he's done enough.
He's in line for a title shot. It just depends if Holloway wins, and then if they want to match him up with Aldo. And if he admitted it himself, he says it. If they want to match me up with Aldo, you know. It's a tough one.
And the reverse.
I'll make a quasi prediction on that. I think if Holloway wins, it'll be Frankie Holloway. Which how fucking great would that fight be, right? That's awesome, Ooh. Are we PG? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
we're not.
No, fuck bollocks, whatever you want to say.
Sorry. I say the fuck word sometimes.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry, you're on the right show. But in the same way, then, what's next for Yair Rodriguez? He got the big push. He got the big fight. And he fell at that hurdle. So what's next for him? Where does he go back? Does he drop for because realistically you have to look at it. We just spoke with Jason Knight. Realistically, you have to look. Jason Knight's on a 4-5 win streak. He's pushing the boundaries, trying to get into the top 15, top 10. So how far back does that drop Rodriguez? Is you know, it's a weird one that he was getting the big push, and that's going to stop now in a way.
Or right, when you get a guy that's like 11 fighting a 2 and gets dominated, right? What happens? Yeah. Does the 2 gain anything? Not really. I don't know. Tough to say. Does the 11 drop much because he went up 9 spots? I don't know if it was 11. Whatever he was, right? It wasn't 6. Yeah. So I think you line him up with, the Cubs. Maybe a Cub Swanson fight would be fun, or you go the Superboy or whatever, something like that. You go that level, like the second tier.
That'd be insane.
I don't know what's up with Mendez, but that would be interesting.
I think he just goes out. I think he's just fishing these days.
Only kryptonite has been Aldo, and it's only a kind of, right? Aldo never destroyed him. No, they were 5-round fights.
Yeah, he appointed him.
He really won especially the second, but it's not as if he was out. You know what I mean? So interesting for both. I think Yair's got to pedal back a tad. He's young.
He is. Well, that's the thing. He's got time.
I'm a huge fan of Yair. Like I've picked him in every time we've done picks for fights. I've picked him. I just thought there was a little bit too much for him this time. But again, as you said, it wouldn't have surprised me if he came out and he landed some kind of crazy spinning wheel kick. Just wouldn't.
Did.
Yeah,
that heel kick landed flush.
Yeah, Frankie's beast.
Your heel is as hard as a baseball bat. You know. Interesting about him as an aside. I like to break down on individuals, right? Yeah. Rather than previews. Sometimes it gets a little boring, and then once the fight's over, it's like a wasted time, right? So when I broke down Yair, I was realizing and I have a background in traditional martial arts, so I have names. I know the nomenclature for most things, right? But there he throws kicks that I was to the people that are reading, I'm like, I don't know, come up with a name. I have no idea what that's even called. I've never seen it. He's got this incredible artistic side to him. It's just you ran into a buzzsaw, man. It happens.
And it's unfortunate when you see a rising star, fall essentially. But look,
I think he'll be back.
Yeah, honestly. You win or you learn. To quote John Kavanagh.
I like that. That's Kavanagh, right?
Yeah,
is that his book?
Huh? That's his
book.
Yeah, that's his book called Win or Learn. Yeah.
I love that guy. He's so sharp.
Yeah.
Moving up the card, then we had Damian Maia against Masvidal. This was Jorge Masvidal. This was basically, as it turned out, to be the number 1 shot, and finally it looks like Damian Maia is getting his crack at gold.
Yeah.
Can you ever trust that? Right?
No, I don't know. No. I heard Dana White. Because you could hear it on the broadcast. You could hear him going, "Yeah, you got it," and I'm there going, "Don't fucking lie, Dana."
It was almost Khabib-ish, not quite.
Yeah. I do thought it was smart though by Maia to go out there and say, "Oh yeah, Dana just said I got it." Yeah, say it to the world. You know, smart.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah. What did we think of the fight though? The simple term of it for me, how you could break it down simply was when it was on his feet, you were waiting for Masvidal to destroy him, but as soon as it hit the mat, you were going, "Here's the rear naked choke." Simple, really.
It's very old school. UFC 13.
Yeah, right? But in a way, it was. But one thing that really impressed me was Masvidal's defense.
Yeah. There's where I was going. Yeah. That's why I was going to say he's not so one-sided. No. He showed incredible takedown defense, but Maia is a wizard. Yeah. He has the best jiu-jitsu for MMA, I don't know, ever, right? Yeah. If he's not one, he's 1A or whatever. Yeah. Because what he was doing on those sprawls to hold on to a single that he was losing and then shuck his hips in to get deep half guard sweep, I mean, that is so advanced at that level, you know? Because Masvidal's takedown defense is incredible, obviously. But against a guy like Maia, he'll pull deep half. Yeah. Like, that's insane. Yeah.
And sometimes he didn't even have deep half, though. He was nearly lying flat, just holding onto a single and stretch. And next minute, he just turns the hips in and he's in. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, his hips would shift forward. Yeah, it's beautiful. He put one leg around. That's all he needed to get one leg over another leg of Masvidal, and then he'd use that to get slinky. And if you notice, he's very battering ram with his head, and he'll sweep off that, and then control position. Masvidal's rear naked choke defense was ridiculous for 3 rounds. Yeah, it's 3 rounds of that. You know,
it's crazy. I love Maia. I love the way Maia can make people get into play his game. Like he'll grab a wrist or something, and he'll just make people play into that game just for a second, and that's all he needs. Once he gets them in. He has them. And
literally.
It's crazy.
And him not being, Marcelo's kind of like stockier. I don't know if you've ever seen Marcelo, even if not in person. He's not like, it's not that he's jacked, but he's center of gravity wise. He's not lanky like Maia, right? But Maia's got that sinewy squeeze. I've never rolled with him, but from everything I hear, like when you see him, get kind of here on somebody, it's not quite tucked. Like he doesn't need to. He'll just go palm to palm. And he's got that squeeze.
That's what I think Joe Rogan on the broadcast said. He'd choke you out through your eyes. He said something like that. I think Rogan said. He'd choke you out through your eyes.
Oh yeah, kills here. You have a pressure point like right here under where your jawbone kind of like takes a turn. Right inside there's a super pressure point. You can feel it if you put your thumb in there. So when you put that squeeze, good way to choke somebody if you ever want to. Just get your thumb in. So if you get somebody right there, that's where they'll feel it. If you have a good squeeze, obviously, if you're Damian Maia, you do. The thing is, he never connected his hands that I can recall. Not for any time that mattered. So it was tough, and there was, I think, didn't a judge score it in Masvidal's favor for the whole fight?
Yeah, I think they did,
That's kind of crazy, but, I mean, goes to show you, right?
Yeah. Again, how
they score fights is crazy.
That's still, in a way, it's something that you almost see more on the regional circuit. Like, you could be watching, you'd have your 3 judges, and you go, all right, so he's a jiu-jitsu guy, all right, fair enough. Yeah. Well, he's more of a striking coach guy. Yeah. So you can tell when somebody's on the back and you look at a scorecard and you see the jiu-jitsu guy has scored it to the guy who's on his back on the ground, you go, that's the jiu-jitsu guy. So it's still, unfortunately, that still happens. But I think the right winner was called out at the end, and Daniel Maia gets you shot.
100%. Yeah. You can't control 70, more than that, 83%, I bet, of the fight. Yeah. He was in control. Well, how do you give it to the other guy? It's like he wasn't doing anything. He was trying for submissions the entire time, even though it's not Frankie's. We were talking about how beautiful Frankie's. He wasn't doing that on the ground, right, either, but he's trying for submissions. So it's a hat tip for both, I think, in an odd way, because Masvidal's... what's GSP keeps saying? His stock has risen. Like Masvidal's stock keeps rising and rising. So it was kind of a no lose for either of them. I don't think Masvidal was able to fend things off, and you could tell he was frustrated. He was celebrating nothing at the end of rounds, but I got a ton of respect for that guy.
Yeah, big time.
Heart and incredible jiu-jitsu defense.
It's going to be the biggest celebration for jiu-jitsu and MMA since Royce Gracie, you'd imagine, realistically, if he gets that gold belt wrapped around his waist.
Oh, yeah, from Woodley, you mean?
Yeah, if he does,
Woodley.
yeah.
Tough fight.
My God, Twitter will explode.
Yeah. Everyone will be at home in their white pajamas with their belts tied.
Don't mess around.
Yeah.
They go for their guy. They don't care. They don't care if the guy was an asshole to them. They love him. He's jiu-jitsu for life.
Exactly,
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous.
Who were we talking?
I don't know how he fares against Woodley.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's going to be the big, strong wrestler as well.
Yeah.
Again, breaking it down to almost like UFC 15, as you said. There's a lot more. Yeah. There's a lot more pieces to the jigsaws now, but like you still predominantly look at the 10-piece square rather than the 300-piece jigsaw. He's a striker and he's a so.
You're right.
Yeah. Moving on to what I thought is just. What more can you say about Joanna Jędrzejczyk? What can you say?
She's the best.
She's the best.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She might be. There's an argument that she's the best striker, period, in MMA.
Yeah.
It's just,
I think there's a very legitimate argument.
Yeah.
Like you look at, you alluded to it, Rob. Andrade just constantly kept coming forward. And I tweeted as I was watching it going, if this was any other strawweight, she's walking through them.
Yeah.
Andrade is walking through majority of any other strawweight.
It was odd, right? Almost how much she took.
Could take. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Joanna you could see her smiling and you could really see Joanna was enjoying it in there. She was loving it. Now, she got the big lump of hematoma that sort of made people go, ugh, for a minute, but at the same time, that was it. Just from start to finish, we'll let you take this, Brendan. This is your wheelhouse. This is where we want to listen to your talk of just the brilliance of Joanna champion.
So here's what I was thinking during the fight. It was a few-fold because usually when I watch fights, it's not necessarily fighters. It's more like fans. Some of them have some experience a little bit. Not pros, though, normally. They're just my buddies from high school kind of thing. So one of them's like done some boxing, etc. Of course, they want to like hit pads and all that. We were having fun. And one of the things I brought up when he was hitting pads, and it was funny because it ended up being the perfect example of this with Joanna. And I use this kind of analogy or whatever coaching technique a lot, is that like the importance of relaxation and striking. People think of it in jiu-jitsu, of course. It's such an obvious thing to relax, right? Because otherwise you're going to gas, basically. She is so, if you watch in slow motion the way her technique on her jab, not only is it technically, I mean, just this absolute perfect lance, retraction, out angle, her hand is literally open the entire time. There's a camera, right? Until the very end, and then she snaps, and then she retracts. It's so perfect, and that's a lot of where she gets her speed. Sometimes when you see her throw combinations, she'll slap the first, like, three, and then blast. Kind of the old, like the Diaz analogy, but with much more refined striking, I guess. And her no-sell lead, not like I call it a 9, like a left high kick if you're orthodox. The way she was setting that up, one time she did like a double tap because she kept throwing that lead leg inside. And you saw that welting, right? So she was picking her apart because she kept coming forward. And I'll get to what I think about that in a minute. But she's doing all this just magical striking. Now where it gets interesting, because of course the technique was just flawless. If you don't appreciate that, I don't know if you're watching the right sport. Maybe watch something else. It's impossible for me to understand that myself anyway. But what was odd to me and what I kept thinking about is that obviously the importance of, like I mentioned, relaxation. Joanna's all of that. It's not as if she doesn't turn it up. She doesn't have emotion. She's super emotional, actually. Yeah. But when it comes to her striking, she's relaxed. The other one was almost like, and I want to say this in the most politically correct way, but it was almost like as if she had more just we'll call it natural testosterone-ish, right? Joanna's a 115-pound woman, right? We have to be, if we don't have honest discourse, why have discourse, right? Her wrists are probably a quarter of any of ours, especially mine. And you saw that. The other girl's got a kind of thicker neck. So what I was thinking during that fight, it was like, is this how like Roy Jones versus a prime Hagler, like both in their primes would have looked, right? Because it was like one had length and ability to keep clipping. Hagler has better striking technique. I know it's not a perfect analogy, but his chin was ridiculous, right? She got head kicked clean. I lost count at 12, I think. I was like, Jesus Christ, is that human? Is she okay? What did she take some Novocaine for her brain before? Like, it was not normal to me. Her head was going head kick, and then she's like, coming back with these clubbing hands. I'm like, Jesus, that woman is insane. Speaking of stock rising and a loss, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, is she tough?
Yeah,
but Joanna's, so all the obvious, right? Just beautiful technical work, and usually Joanna's kind of a stalker of a striker, but she showed an incredible ability. And this is one thing I try to really emphasize is the importance of being able to strike while moving backwards, because you're going to have people like that with strong chins that are bulldogs or whatever, pit bull, whatever you want to use, right? And that's what happened. But she just angle out. And also, takedown defense, even with those ridiculous slams after 20 head kicks, I was like, again, is that the Incredible Hulk's, younger daughter or whatever? I didn't understand where she was finding her will. Yeah. The point being is that Joanna would just scramble or, kind of whizzer her way out. Yeah. I think American Top Team's going to make her. Yeah. Geez, who's going to beat her? You know?
That was one thing that I seen on the takedowns. It wasn't that our takedown defense was amazing, which it was. It was really good and it's getting a lot better. It was the position that she put herself in when she hit the mat. And immediately when she hit the mat, she was back up because she put herself in the position. She wasn't getting pushed straight into guard. She wasn't pulling guard straight away. She was putting herself in that position. One thing, though, as well, speaking of kicks, did you see that jumping roundhouse kick she landed going backwards? Yeah. What the hell was that?
How did I miss that?
She was going backwards. She jumped and she hit I think it was a roundhouse
just a regular
kick.
Roundhouse?
Yeah, just a regular roundhouse going backwards. It was crazy. I think it was in the fourth round.
The house I was in was a little crazy.
Yeah,
so
it's insane.
Somehow I missed that.
Yeah, but amazing performance.
Actually, no. I heard everyone react. Yeah. And then I didn't see it on a replay. Yeah, but I do remember. But I didn't see the technique. But yeah, she's incredible moving backward. That I'm telling you, it's not just angles. It's not just jabs. It's everything. It has to be everything. And she mixes everything up. She did this one thing. And Stipe did it. I'm sure we'll get there, but she kind of feint switched her jab into that 9, but she didn't even throw the jab. It's just a distraction in the center line. Yeah, so the other girl brings her hands in, and all of a sudden you're opening this lane. Didn't matter with the head kick landing flush. The girl's like, that's cool. As if a fly landed on her. It was so bizarre. That was almost bizarre, her chin. Yeah. But Joanna's striking is magical. She's amazing. And to your point on the scrambling, it's just balance, I think, and probably training with grapplers more now. Yeah. I would assume. Laborio's still involved, and he's a brilliant dude. I've trained with him a little bit way back. He's just a really good mind for grappling, and especially picking someone's talents naturally and exploiting them for the best. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Because you can't really defend against someone that can just pick you up, Hulk smash, throw you. It wasn't a matter of takedown defense. She was defending the takedown until the girl just would get pissed almost and do some Hulk Hogan shit,
It is like that reoccurring dream where someone is just chasing you, and no matter what you hit them with. That. But what I liked about it was that Joanna almost embraced that. She didn't some people might be going, holy fuck, what do I have to do to stop you and sort of lose it? But she didn't. She just stayed in control and just picked her shots. It was beautiful. The main event, I think we finally have a heavyweight fighter who was going to be dominant. Unfortunately, I think it could have been Cain Velasquez, but injuries wouldn't allow that, unfortunately, with Cain. But Stipe Miocic, is he the man who's going to hold this belt in the heavyweight division for a long time?
I think he has. There's one guy I see in his future that's going to be scary, and it's not Cain.
Francis Ngannou.
Yes, sir.
My tip.
Is that because you watch my videos? No, I'm kidding. Ngannou has the ability, if he stays focused and is coached well. I think he made a move to Vegas or something recently.
Yeah, right? He did. He moved to Vegas recently. I've seen that, yeah.
He's the thing that, everyone's been talking about forever is when the super athletes get here, it's like they've been here. It's just not really at that division. Yeah. Besides, I guess, Lesnar and Uberim, specifically Uberim, right? So with Stipe, what you have is an ever-improving And his personality is coming out too, which I like, by the way, because I wish that guy'd be marketed better. So, I don't know. For some reason, he's not completely clicked yet. But man, his footwork and his ring cutting. Everyone was saying JDS was retreating. It's like no. Stipe created that scenario. JDS wasn't shying. It's just that you had one person with much better angular sensibility. And if you watch JDS, the whole fight is like this. It's like he was almost knowing that that's all he had, essentially. And with Stipe, the way that he punches, he has the best short. Do you know what I mean if I say short punching?
Yeah.
I think he has the best short punching in MMA right now. And as a heavyweight, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because if a guy gets in close and he just kind of that much space, you're done.
Yeah, it's weird because he has a lot of range, but he doesn't really use it. He does. He steps in, he throws really short punches, and it's kind of weird because you'd expect him to play off a jab or something, but he doesn't.
Like a long, he's a big dude.
Yeah,
you think he'd have a long jab. Yeah. He doesn't. He doesn't not jab. You know, I mean, he can do a lot. He can. Those leg kicks that he ate from JDS, if say the next guy he was going against was like a prime, I don't know, Pedro Hizo or something, you might want to worry about that, but he doesn't exist now. Not in that capacity anyway. He's alive, I think. The point being is that JDS is like, again, we can go with the chinny thing too. Who knows, how worn that is after his wars over him with that, Daniel LaRusso kick and all that shit. You just don't know. He looked awesome against Rothwell, and then Stipe's on another level. So I guess to answer your question, I would say yes, but Ngannou's going to be the test. He can't stay healthy. I can't even like get up for that fight at this point. No. I love that guy, but man.
Do you think that the UFC are going to fast track Ngannou now at this stage, or do you think they're going to slow build him? Because let's be honest, ironically, the heavyweight division can be quite thin. So is he going to be the next big guy to push? I did tip him before we go forward. I did say he was going to be the big breakout star of 2017.
He was.
And I'm going to say, I think I finished with saying fight for the heavyweight title by the end of 2017. Yeah. Do you see that happening with Ngannou?
I hope so. Why hold him back?
Yeah.
He's killing everyone. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Why? In Yair's case, you had that odd Caceres fight, right? Which kind of was like,
it was
stalemate. And at 145, I get it, right? And that was like one of the things with the Joanna fight, what I was talking about with like wrist size and bone, because your head isn't that much bigger even from 240 to 180 or 160, but your bone structure and your muscle mass is immensely different, like what actually causes a knockout, right? Mm-hmm. With that said, Ngannou might move better than Stipe as far as like, boxing friendly, light on your feet type footwork. He's like an apex predator, man. He's a Bengal tiger or whatever you want to use.
Yeah.
If that guy refines, and it's not as though his technique's bad. He intentionally overthrows on his punches, and over a 5-round fight, if someone fights him smart, let's say Stipe kind of busts out his wrestling, right, and grinds on him for 3, is he going to be able to do that in the 4th? I don't know. Man, I wouldn't want to fight that guy in the 1st round. Jesus Christ. Not without a shotgun. Yeah. That guy's terrifying. But yeah, so Stipe is amazing. I think he's the best heavyweight in the world right now. I think he's already cemented a legacy. I think because heavyweights don't last long up there, no matter who you are, because partially because of the aforementioned, right? One punch, see ya. Yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah. So Junior Dos Santos, is that the end we'll see as Junior, or do you think he'll hang around for a couple of more fights? I think that might have been if I get the gold, I'll hang around. If I don't, it could be time.
Yeah, I hope so. I think he just had a kid. Dude seems I've never met Junior, but from everything I hear, he's like a super gentleman, nice kind of teddy bearish dude. Obviously a killer when he needs to be, but he's done what he can do. With Stipe, what are you going to set it up again? I mean, that was very one-sided. Besides some leg kicks.
Yeah, them leg kicks.
He got cracked 3 times good and then once perfect, right? Yeah. And it was just, it was the 1st round. That's it. I have no interest in seeing that fight again.
No.
Who's he gonna fight Kane for? There's just not much. He's not gonna digress, right? And there's not many places for him to go to to progress,
Yeah.
right? Unless he like took the Ngannou fight, which would be ridiculous. If I were his coach, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, it's basically like the Cain Velasquez situation now at this point. You know, you lose to Cain a couple of times and he's the champ. You're just waiting for someone else to become the champ. But I think now a couple of years later, it's not really looking that good for him. So, great career though.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I liked him. He was good. And Zeus said he came across gentleman, but
for both of them,
Yeah.
you know, both are Hall of Famers to me anyway.
Absolutely.
The heavyweight division is really tough to even defend your belt, let alone, you know,
Yeah.
what's Stipe on 4 now? Maybe.
No,
I'm not so
I don't think it's that many. I think it's 3.
Yeah,
Is it only 3?
Yeah,
three. I think it is
2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it is. He beat for Doom.
He beat for Doom for it.
Alistair
Then he beat
over
Alistair, and then that's it.
and then Ting. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
2.
Yeah, I don't have the rankings in front of me, but I would think,
Yeah, it is.
you know, Kane's fought, once in the last 4 years?
Yeah.
Twice?
Yeah.
Right? It's so hard. How do you put that guy at 2 anymore?
Yeah.
It's
To a main
really weird,
event.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with him. I really don't. And then you got JDS on the cusp of retirement. Arlovsky got murked by Ngannou. It just seems like this collision course that's going to happen. I think the end of this year, I think your prediction, brother, I think that's, I think we'll probably see that.
And this show will never hear the end of it if that comes true. Never
I
hear
just
the end
don't.
of it.
I wouldn't want to be across the ring from that guy's arms.
No.
Either one of them, really. But
Terrifying.
Ngannou just has that. He literally, they call him the Predator. I think like he is the monster from the Predator. So
Yeah.
don't chew gum and shoot a Gatling gun or whatever just to observe it. Right.
It was a great card, the UFC 211. Fantastic card. Just for people that may not be aware, where can we find you? YouTube channel, Twitter, etc.
Oh, of course. Twitter, Instagram, or just my name, Brendan Dorman. It's Brendan, like a good Irishman.
Yeah.
Dorman. And the same with my Facebook business page and my YouTube account. They're just the / Brendan Dorman MMA.
Perfect.
Man,
Perfect.
anyone can hit me up. I try to talk to everyone and respond as much as I can.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
we'll do
listen,
this again very soon as well, man.
This
for sure.
this
That's all.
finally
Yeah, anytime,
happened.
guys. I love this.
We were working on this for a while, and it finally came to fruition. Gladly, like Rob said, anytime, man, we would get you on. Great hearing your insight and your knowledge as well. And thanks for taking the time to stop by today with us.
Beautiful, guys. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Take care of me, man. Good luck.
Cheers. All right.
So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on the tube of you will see we are joined by the beautiful man himself, Mr. Daniel Movahedi. Dan, welcome back to obviously Fight Talk.
Thank you, gents. It's nice to be back.
I don't know why I roared that. What was that? I don't know. I got excited. It's like he was here last week, so
I know,
he's
yeah,
gone for weeks.
fucking hell.
Dan, we're in referee's corner this week because you'll never believe it.
Well, we were in referee's corner before we started.
Yeah,
They're discussing the fight. Oh, what about if this happened? We have him on to talk about the fight, and he's there fucking asking.
Before we press record, I was talking to Dan about everything.
All right, let's
and
go.
everything. But yeah, Dan, look, you're on because somebody needs somebody else while they were sitting on the ground again. Look, talk us through. We've covered this obviously with the Weidman knee as well.
Go back and watch that if you need to.
So Saturday night there was an absolute barn burner of a fight between Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, a back and forth fight. Alvarez eventually got Poirier hurt, got him up against the cage. Poirier looked like he was playing the one-handed touch the ground game, which he is technically allowed to do because in Dallas they're on their old rule set. Alvarez landed a big shot, landed a couple more. It got called a no contest due to unintentional strikes. So talk us through from your mind and your mindset as a referee with what went on.
Yeah, first things first, again, I wasn't a ref in the cage, but on the night, do you know what? The first thing I'll go on about this is you can see where the confusion's coming in, where different states are not taking on the new unified rules. Yeah. And I think an article came out a couple of weeks ago with Big John saying, look, man, everyone needs to be on board with this, whether you agree or don't agree, because it's not fair on the fighters, it's not fair on the officials. And, it might have been the case where Herb wasn't aware, or maybe he was aware and then forgot. I don't know. But with that one hand down, like you said, they're using the old unified rules, so downed opponent would have been anything but the soles of your feet. So one hand down, you can't get kicked or knee to the head. A couple of people were saying to me, but Poirier had his fingertips down. possibly, but on the second one, even with the one hand down, majority of his hand was down, and he was cleared out. He was trying to beat a downed opponent. He got knee to the head. Then he dropped on both hands and a knee down, and then he took a clean knee to the head, which obviously we saw the result of it, cut him open and put him to the canvas.
Yeah.
Then from there, it just kind of all spiraled not out of control. You know, I couldn't hear it at first. I mean, I'm not sure if he gave Dustin up to 5 minutes to recover to make his decision because I could see Herb was asking him, look, you know, regardless of the result, I'm not sure if you know what the outcome would be, but you're not good to continue, are you? Now, that's a leading question.
Yeah.
Right? I personally wouldn't ask a leading question. First of all, I'll let the doctor examine him, go and speak to Alvarez. Alvarez, sorry. Go and speak to Alvarez and say, look, mate, that was a downed opponent, illegal shot, just stand here while I deal with it. So at that time, we'll give the doctor and the fighter a chance to have a conversation for doctor to assess him. Then Herb could come back and go, are you good to continue? Or ask the doctor, is he good to continue? If he is good to continue, and it was, I mean, now we know that Herb had it deemed as an accidental knee, unintentional knee. Maybe he wouldn't have deducted a point. You would have given him up to 5 minutes to recover, and you would have reset the fight. But obviously, he was in no state to recover. So I thought that was a bit weird. Like I said, a bit of a leading question, and then you heard Poirier say, "Look, well, my eye's hurting." I'm not, and you didn't. I didn't even hear the fighter say, "Look, how long have I got? Can I still have a couple of minutes to see if my vision comes back or whatever it may be?" But again, if you're saying in front of the doctors you can't see, you would never go against the medical advice of you not continuing. So obviously Herb calls it off. We see him go out of shot, and obviously he's all like all UFC refs, you're all mic'd up. Then you can see him talking to Ratner, saying, "Look, first one was legal. Well, it wasn't. You know, you even hear again." Classic Joe Rogan and Cormier and John Anik going, no, that's not legal. One hand down, it's illegal. But then that's what I'm saying. That could have been a confusion of maybe Herb just, I don't know, made a mistake, you know, of not realising what rules they're fighting under there. And obviously, then the second one, obviously, then the one with the knee down and two hands down, he got kneed. But I can't see how he saw that as accidental. You know, a couple of things that come to my mind is, I mean, I know he said, look, I was saying to him he's a downed opponent, but obviously the fighter didn't hear me. I don't know if you guys caught that bit. But me personally as a ref, I shouldn't be telling a fighter if a fighter's downed or not downed. To me, that's coaching. That's coaching a fighter. You know, at the end of the day, you know the rules. You know what the rules are, regardless whether you're in a state of fighting or whether it's just a moment of, hey, I threw that shot and it was illegal. At the end of the day, it's up to you as a fighter to abide by them rules. You know, like same as you have referees going, 10 seconds left. You don't have to tell the fighters there's 10 seconds. They fight to that bell or to that horn, you know. So I thought it was really weird when it was deemed as a no contest. It should have been a DQ in my eyes. A couple other people I've spoken to, which I won't bring in this conversation, they agree that it should have been a DQ as well. Who knows? Maybe maybe Dustin will go back and
contest. Right, Dan. Right, in a way.
Sorry, that was a bit long-winded. Sorry.
No, it's good to hear your voice. The big thing is, right, we've been doing, it was weird. We started the referee's corner a long time ago, and then we didn't really use it. We just brought you on as one of the hosts, and we sort of didn't utilise your knowledge that much. But since we've now started doing a regular, when something happens, it's referee corner with Daniel Movahedi, this has happened so much. So with that in hindsight, for me, they stand out more because we're doing these more. Yeah. What has to change? Like, in hindsight, was it an error bringing out the new unified rules if all states weren't going to adopt them? Or should the fighters now, I know as you said there that Herb said grounded opponent, he shouldn't do that because it's ground, or his coaching. So what needs to change for, there's a fight now in Atlanta and the rules are different. They're the new rules in Atlanta. I don't know if they are or not. But is that, is it the case where the fighters, before each one, you have to be told you can do this here, you can't do this here? In hindsight, was a mistake bringing the new rule set out when it wasn't across the board?
I think the thing that needs to happen going forward is that whether the UFC can do it, I don't know, but it would make it so much easier if everyone used the same unified rules. Even with the situation that happened on the night. if that was under the new unified rule, so if he had a knee or anything but the soles of his feet and a hand down, so he had 2 hands down and a knee down, that still was an illegal shot. You know, so forget the 1 hand down knees that he took. Okay, so let's say that was the new rule set. He took 2 of them knees, perfectly legal. But as soon as he put that knee down, and he took that 3rd knee to the head, that was illegal. So I can't see how that was unintentional, and it should have been a DQ. And going back, it's literally, I think it does come down to, definitely everyone should use the unified rules. It's easier for the fighters to remember what rules they're fighting under, different states to go to, and like in their training, it'll become easier. So they can set up stuff, and they know what when they can use the knees or kicks to the head and when they can't. Same for the officials. You know, everyone knows exactly what rule sets we're fighting under. I remember the days when you used to have, for amateurs, in England anyway, used to have like amateur A class, B class, C class. No standing head shots, standing shots on the ground. It used to be so confusing going to shows, and as a ref going, okay, who's up next? Oh shit, yeah, okay, he's a C class. Okay, well he can do this, can't do this, and the next guy coming on is a professional fighter. You're like, you know, just having the set rules out, you know, that would make it easier. And I think with time it will come. I think I looked at the post-fight conference with Dana White, and he said he got a text from Lorenzo saying, "No, look, you guys need instant replay, you know, straight away." And maybe that is the answer. Again, would a referee change his mind? I don't know. The damage has been done. But I think the main thing is maybe the UFC or events maybe don't go to certain states for a while until they do change their rule set. I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. But for me as a ref, it's easier if everyone was abiding by the same rule sets and we knew where we was going with it.
Excellent.
Great.
And again, it's crazy to think here we are again talking about similar things. So Dan, let's move along. You were on duty at the weekend.
Yes.
You were in a circular cage. They've adopted and stayed with the circular cage, BAMMA. I noticed that.
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
even
it was nice.
Yeah, it's the Bellator cage, essentially.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Did you not? No, it was nice. It was good, easier to move around. It felt really nice. I like the round cage.
And it was on Unilad or Unilag, as it's now hashtagged, because it was terrible. The lag kept going. When it got to a certain fight, when it was the Shea Walsh fight and Aaron Blackwell, I turned around and thought, the two lads must be wrecked, because this fight is going on a good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was still only the first round. I'm like, when did they change the rule set to 45-minute round? But yeah, look, it was a bit disappointing. Then it came on Dave, and it was great. And it was great, Dan, looking at you on me telly.
Oh, thanks.
I was there. There's Dan. But yeah, great fight, Dan. What for you what stood out for you? Any of the fights? Obviously, you were in a great seat. I know you were on duty for a good few of them, but what fight stood out for you at the event?
Yeah, for me, I mean, first and foremost, I think it was fantastic. That was on live TV. You know, 9 o'clock prime time on Dave TV, and the 3 fights that they had put on for the main card were absolutely fantastic. The Mario Said fight. Obviously we know the result of that. That was a great fight, but for me it had to be the main event. You know, Brett McDermott versus the German smasher, the Viking,
Ruben
and
Wolf,
his name is not coming to me yet.
Ruben Wolf is his name.
Ruben Wolf. You know, that fight, just for so many reasons. You guys know it. You know, Brett McDermott, he retired, then he made a comeback on Bellator against King Mo. Unfortunately lost that fight, and then obviously he made his comeback here again. He just seems to have a fire in him again, and for me as a fan and as an official, just sitting there watching that live was fantastic. And just on another note, going back to the referee kind of stuff, what a fantastic stoppage by Goddard. You know, a lot of people, you know, on social media going, oh, it could have gone on a bit longer. For me, if anything, it would have been okay to stop that a little bit earlier. You know, people need to realise as a ref, we're not there we don't have to wait for you to get knocked out, to get that knockout blow where you're literally laying unconscious on the floor. We're there to protect you, you know. Just because you managed to get up, scramble up to your feet just about and covering up and moving a little bit doesn't mean you're all there, you know. So, you know, a great call and a fantastic fight. So, yeah, credit to BAMMA.
I thought McDermott was great to see him. You could see he was getting emotional as well with the victory. Yannick Movahedi was a great fight over Matthew. Helena was a super fight. Movahedi looked like he was just waiting for his chance, and boy, did he grab it. Tim Barnett, former guest.
Man, he looks phenomenal. And
that was a big test with Mario Seed with the ground. That was a big thing. You know, a wrestler taking him down. How would he be on the mat?
Beautiful ground and pound. And I love the way Saeed came in immediately with aggressive takedowns, and Barnett, he fought them, but he also was playing the game where he was allowing him to tire himself out, and that kind of led to the finish. I thought it was a beautiful finish. I thought
and
that was
post-fight, can't believe the torrent of vulgarness that was coming out of Tim Barnett. He is just the nicest guy in the world, isn't he? Even interviewing, like he's the nicest guy ever. Like when he hit him and he put him out, he was like, and I thought hopefully that was it, and I had to hit him again. I
don't like seeing that.
Yeah, it's just
such a nice guy,
super nice guy. And then of course the Joker, Aaron Chalmers. He only gone and done it.
Fucking hell.
For all the stick he got.
He was that. I mean, obviously, you guys have seen the fight now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The whole, the media jumped on the whole weigh-in thing. Oh, he was waiting over this. And, I think there was a bit of confusion there. But listen,
in fairness, it was billed as a lightweight fight, and it ended up as a welterweight fight.
Yeah.
Norman Park tweeted about it as well, saying he missed weight and it cost him 50% of his purse.
Yeah. But I think and I'm sure someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was agreed between the camps earlier in the week that'd be a welterweight fight. It'd be a different weight. They both agreed, and personally for me, they were both safe MMA, medically cleared. They both agreed to fight at that weight. There was no complaints from the other camp. And to be fair, you're right. The guy he fought hadn't fought MMA. I know he's had a couple of Thai boxing fights, but I think what impressed me about Aaron was. Obviously, you had his mob and the TV crew on the side as he was coming down the ramp. And as I'm standing there checking, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is just going to be a big TV hoo-ha. Look for the Geordie Shore TV. He was focused. He didn't even go over to his guys or girls or his fellow TV crew people. He walked straight down that ramp. He looked fantastic. He was in the zone, And I think someone put it right. A lot of people are putting this fight down, and no one complained when Idris Elba was doing the reality TV and he was fighting a couple of K1 fights against people. Again, same with CM Punk. Look, at the end of the day, it's brought more viewers to the TV. To the TV screens, it's brought a little attention to the MMA community. So we've got to look at the good and the bad. It wasn't all bad, and and you got to look at the good side.
Well,
to
look,
it. So
I was impressed by what he done. He looked great. His striking looked good. He got the takedown. He won by submission.
Yeah, and I think he got him in a crucifix. It is crazy. It is crazy where people are saying, and you said it there, Dan, that the guy didn't fight MMA either, but either did he. It was his MMA debut. So
exactly.
Well, look,
what are you supposed to do?
Let's be honest. I think a lot of people's preference where it was on such a big card with BAMMA, but you think BAMMA going to turn that spotlight down?
He said it in a post-fight interview. He said if BAMMA, a big organisation, comes to you and says, "Do you want to fight in this card?" You're not going to say no. I want to fight in some PE hall down the road.
His opponent. No disrespect, you get in there. You have to respect everyone who gets in there. But he didn't look like he was a lot smaller than Aaron. But Aaron got in there and done a good job. And I certainly wouldn't be going or whatever. Like, he got in there and he done something, as he said in his post interview. He's done something that a lot of the people in the crowd booing him didn't do. He took the walk and he stepped in there. And much respect to him. And he's 1-0 as a professional mixed martial artist.
Yeah.
Boom.
And he put the training in, regardless if they had to change the weight class. But he trains out of UTC, and he put the training. But like I said, the standout point for me was that he was focused. There was no gimmick backstage. There was no loads of TV crews backstage disturbing him. He come in, he was focused. His cornerman kept him focused, and that's what I took from that fight. Fight aside, that's what I took from it. He acted professional when he needed to, and he did what he had to do, and I fair play to him.
A couple other notes on the card as well. Shea Walsh got a good cardio win, chasing Aaron Blackwell around the cage. It wasn't as bad as I seemed against Alan Philpott that time, but he certainly was. I got to give it to Malcolm and Chris on the commentary. They were trying to say how elusive and counter-striking Blackwell is. Unfortunately, you can only dance with a dance partner, and Shea Walsh didn't have that. He got the job done and looks like he's set to fight Alan Philpott. So we'll both know it could be a 3-round war because their cardio is going to be strong. Joy Herbert got back in the win column. Very, very, very tasty victory. Again, if you haven't seen it, it's still on Unilag if you check it out now. Daniel Crawford got a great victory over Ronnie Mann as well with a TKO in the first round. But Irish hearts were broken. and Birmingham Hearts were smiling as David Cazale on his debut took the victory from Cian Cowley in the opening round with rear naked choke. It's something that was always questioned. Cian going to MMA, how will he cope on the ground? It looked like when he was taken down, as he went down, he took a bad landing.
I heard that.
Looks like he's popped an elbow or something.
Yeah.
He's caused himself. I don't know the extent of it.
Yeah.
But at first, when I went to the ground, because Alice showed Keane was doing the right things on the bottom. He was defending. He was doing things, but that's what all he was doing in a way, defending.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because Alan knew he rolled with him. Keane rolled to try to get out of it. He took us back. Defended the choke well on the first time. The second time it was in deep, and I think injury might have affected him. But it was the big question: how will the Thai fighter do if it goes to the ground? Keane is only a pup. He's only young. He'll be back. 100% he will be back.
Most definitely will be back.
A lot of pressure on Keane in these fights. It's not. Respect goes. You can say he puts the pressure on himself by promoting himself the way he does, but that's what he does. He promotes himself brilliantly, and unfortunately, the fall seems bigger when someone falls at that height. But David Cazale got in there. He spoke to us on the show, saying this is a huge opportunity for me. And find a guy with such a big following, it's going to put him in the light. And he got in there. He got hurt by the leg kicks that Keane threw, capitalised on, I think it was the third kick throw, and got the takedown and got it done. You got to give it to Cazale. Got in there and got it done.
And it has propelled him in the sense you were saying about Cowley that had the pressure on him. Like every media went with McGregor's training partner.
Yeah, of course.
That whole thing, whether he was fighting or even afterwards, they put Conor McGregor's training partner loses in an MMA debut or pro debut.
Of course,
so as far as people, they just want the clicks on the internet and whatnot.
Of course.
So the pressure is there for both fighters,
Interesting to see what lies ahead for Keane with BAMMA, or be it elsewhere, fighting on regional shows or whatever it is. BAMMA 29, it was a great card. It was a Friday night. You were sat at home, you were watching fights, only for Unilag. It was a disappointment. What did I say? I done the Bane quote as well. You were simply born in the lag. I was raised by the lag. But
I'm more like Dracula.
Whatever. But I can't remember. But yeah, look, 29 was good. 30 is returns to Dublin. But Dan, are you on duty on Friday night in London, mate?
I am not on duty in London, but I'll be there as a guest. So I'm looking forward to that. Just kick back, watch some fights. And if I am called up for any other reason, I'm ready to be there.
Substitute.
But no, I'm looking forward to the fights, and I'm looking forward to the especially the main card matchup. And for me, obviously, daily McDonald's fight. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's your main event. Is Paul Daly against Rory McDonald. This is the interesting one. Everyone says, how has McDonald come back from Lawler? This has been his longest extension away from the cage, and has he developed? Has he recovered? The nose. And
Daly is on and up. He's coming off that knockout of the year candidate right at the start of the year, fight of the year as well, and a great performance. So I can't wait for that fight. And
then Linda Vassell takes on Lee McCurry, and the two biggest, potentially could be the two biggest battle of two British fighters.
I think the only guy, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're more in the loop on UK MMA, the only guy in that division that's probably ranked above him would be Manoa.
Yeah, probably.
That's it, really.
Yeah.
At light heavyweight.
You've Czech Congo taking on Augusto Sagi, and then one that jumped out for me, Dan, a name from the past. I'm sure you're well aware of him, Neil Grove.
Yeah, but he's not fighting.
Is he off the card?
I wasn't on his fight. I'm sure a couple of weeks ago he pulled out.
I'm looking at Topology. Maybe he did. But unfortunately, the card lost Fenn and Page against Derek Anderson as well. But look, it's a great card.
There's a couple of underdogs, and obviously you got Alex Lahore fighting on the show. He fought Colin Fletcher, didn't he? So he's fighting Dan Vinny. That would be a good one to look out for. I know that's on the main card, but on the undercard, Ali Albazi, he's from London Shoot, and trust me, this is a kid to look out for. And Michael Shipman, both from London Shoot based. And I think they'll be on the undercard, but I think next time you see them on Bellator or another show, they'll be on the main card. Definitely main card worthy.
Baby Slice as well as fighting.
Yeah.
Kevin Ferguson Jr. taking on DJ Griffin. It's a great card, Bellator. Unfortunately, the Venom Page, Venom Page was like, it was a big pull for the card as well. Daly has had a go, saying, every time there's a bit of pressure on him, a big fight, he pulls out injured. So, them two are just going to bicker one another. Unfortunately, we were due to have Jimmy Smith on to talk about it with us today. We did mention it at the top of the show, but unfortunately, technical problems are the gremlins of Skype. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Jimmy, but we'll have Jimmy on again. Dan, as always, it's great talking to you, my man.
Thank you.
Inside again, and like I said, it was great seeing you on the telly.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for giving me the time and allowing me to give some sort of insight into some of the things that happen. But again, remember, man, referee, damned if you do, damned if you don't. We're the guys who get blamed for it. So
well, Dan,
no matter what it is.
As you always say, I wasn't the referee in there, and I didn't see his eyes. This has been obviously Fight Talk episode 67. We'd like to give a shout out to our guests today. So, Mr. Daniel Movahedi first.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Brendan Dorman coming on, recapping UFC 211. I was losing there. And Mississippi Mean, Jason Knight. What an interview. That's been 67. Fight Star Ireland. Check them out. Everything you need under one roof. If you want to see obviously good stuff about MMA, check out MMA Mix because they're obviously good.
Is it with obviously Fight Talk?
Don't
ever.
Just
don't
ever. So that's been 67. Like, subscribe, share. Hit us up on @talk_fight on Twitter. Obviously, Fight Talk everywhere else. Did I say talk_fight on Twitter? Yeah. Check us out. And like I said, like and share, comment. Rob answers. Me, not so much. That's because Rob controls the thing. So this has been 67. You've been beautiful. Enjoy the fight.